Hello everyone, it's Wilkerson. So I keep getting the same question. I've seen a lot of your videos, Rome, and I noticed that you use a lot of different plugins. Well, if I have Photoshop, do I really need all those other plugins to edit a portrait? Well, of course you do. No, I'm just kidding. No, you don't. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you some of the built-in filters, and specifically the filter that I know that you're asking about, which is Liquify. The ability to manipulate an image, structure of the face, structure of the body, something like that. So I'm going to use this beautiful photo of one of my models, Jamie, and everything about her face is perfect. But what we're going to do here is we're going to look at some of the things that you can do in Liquify. And again, I know you guys have heard me say this before, just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right, guys, so here's an image that was captured quite a while ago with an Nikon camera. I think I was shooting at, I think it was a 70 to 200 possibly. 3 light setup for this, but we'll get to all that here in a minute. But anyway, so let's go ahead and just open this image because that's what we're really here for. All right, so here's our image. You guys can see the catch light in the eyes. If you look at this left eye, you can see that there was actually 3 lights facing her. But from this, from her right eye, you don't see that 3rd light for some reason. Whatever it is. All right, so let's go into Liquify. So you would find that under Filters, Liquify. All right, so now we're in Liquify. We're going to zoom in on her face just a little bit here. And then from here, you're going to choose Face Tool. And as soon as you choose Face Tool, well, actually, you don't even have to choose the Face Tool, because the reason why I wanted you to choose the Face Tool is that you'll see that as you mouse over, it will show you different components of the face, like the nose, the eyes, the shape of the face, the lips, and so on, right? So technically, you could use just those alone. You could just go in here and you could slim the face if that's what your goal was. You could make the eyes smaller, or you can make them really, really large. It just depends on what it is you're trying to do, what the end result is. Now, some things that you may want to do in Liquify are not going to be under this tab, because if you're adjusting the rest of the body, you're not going to have these controls. You're going to have to use other parts of Liquify, like your forward push, you have a pucker, you have a number of other tools. But anyway, what we're going to look at right now is the sliders that come here in Liquify. So I'm going to close all these down to make it easier for you guys to see what I'm doing here. So the first one we're going to look at is going to be eyes. So if you look at the sliders here, right now this one is at 0 and the other one is at 31 because I altered it in the beginning. So we're going to put that back at 0. So now her eyes should be even, from left to right. So if I adjust the left eye, you see only that eye, I'm sorry, that's her right eye, but only that eye is being adjusted, right? So we're going to put that back to 0. But if you link them, which is this little tab here in the middle, now when I adjust one eye, they go together. So if you want to just make them just a touch larger, you could, okay? Then if you wanted to raise the eye height, you can link those, and that'll raise those up just a little bit. And then the eye width, we could do basically the same thing. And you could spread them out just a little bit. Now, when it comes to the tilt, let's see what we get here. Let's see how that turns them inward and outward. That is so weird. Yeah, that's weird. Let's put that back to 0. Nobody wants that. Okay, so let's move on. So we're going to get here. We're going to go down here to the nose. So right now, the first slider is at 0, but the first slider is for the nose itself. So this will adjust the nose height. So like right now, her nose just shrunk. And now I just made it really, really long. And if we go with nose width, and the opposite would shrink it. So I'm not saying that there's not a use for this. I'm sure there is. It just depends on how you're applying it. So even when you go here to the mouth, she's semi-smiling, model smile. But, you could really emphasize that smile, or you could turn it, more neutral if that's what you want it. The upper lip. Now this should make the lip pucker. Yeah, it does. See, it brings it up a little bit, almost like she's blowing a kiss. And then the lower lip, you can make it larger or really, really thin. So it's like any other plugin or filter. If you're not familiar with it and you haven't watched like a ton of YouTube videos on the subject, what I always recommend is just, find you an image and just start playing with it. Like this one is for mouth height, right? So you see how it brings the lips up a little bit? That's just too weird. Back to 0. Okay. So let's move on. So the next thing is going to be face shape. So the top slider here, which is at 0, would affect her forehead. So it didn't bring it up much, but you still notice there is some movement. So if we go back and forth, it looks like she's winking at us with her forehead. Uncool. And then this one is for the chin. It'll shrink the chin, or I can extend it. And then our jawline, you could bloat it, or you could really, draw it in really, really tight. And then we look at our face width. So let's bring all these back to 0. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for those built-in things that you could do just for the face. Now, like I said before, you also have these other little controls here where you could literally do the same thing by just, kind of dragging. You see there I'm dragging her eyes up and then bringing them back down. And it would reflect over here. So if you were looking at this tab was open and I was doing any of these movements, you would see it being reflected in the tabs. Same as with the lips. So I want to bring that back. So like I said, guys, just find you an image, with clear, directional of the face, and just play around with it. That's going to be, one of the easiest ways to figure out if this is something that's going to work. Now, in a practical situation, how I would use this, say for instance, you're photographing someone and they're looking slightly, glancing slightly in one direction or another. What happens a lot of times is that one eye will look significantly larger than the other because of the distance from, the focus point of the lens versus one eye to the other. So in that case, you may want to just go in and just make that eye just a little bit larger, just so that they even out. But it also depends on, the shape of the face, the direction of the face, the way the lighting is hitting the face. All those things are going to be factors. So, use this stuff with, your own discretion. But I personally don't use that as much as some of the other, things that I use, like for, skin softening and things like that. Yeah, I will use those more often because that's something people are going to ask for a lot. But I have had clients before that have had medical conditions which would cause, one of their eyes to be somewhat lazy or something along the lines of that. And they'll ask, hey, is it possible you could fix something like this? And I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I'm not going to guarantee them that I can fix it because it may not look natural enough to me for me to present it to them. But if I'm able to remedy the situation, in a professional manner that's tasteful, I'll give it a shot, as I suggest that you do. All right, guys, I'm going to bring this video to an end. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And share this content with, other photographers or people you think that may benefit from this type of content that I'm putting out. But until next time, I will catch you guys in the next video. Y'all stay safe and get out there and create something. Peace. I'm out.